Hey everyone, my name is Emily Ames and I am an online course coach and template designer, and I want to talk about Kartra checkouts and how to enable Klarna or buy now, pay later options. So something that's very exciting with Kartra is they just released the ability for users to choose Klarna or Apple Pay, Google Pay, so that they can have more flexibility with their payments. And so we're really excited about this. And this is all available through your Stripe integration. So I'm going to show you how to set this up in Kartra if you're using the old checkout system or if you're brand new to Kartra and you're setting up your checkout system for the first time. So before you get started, you do want to make sure that you already have a published product and you already have your payment processor connected. So you can look up my other tutorials on how to do this, and then you can then go to the next step, which is setting up your checkouts in Kartra. So the checkouts are now just pulled out from your product. So going forward, it looks like they are going to pull them out separately. And this allows you to have the option to offer Klarna, which is a buy now, pay later option. I think this is amazing. I have been hoping and praying for Klarna to be available to people because sometimes it just gives them a little bit more flexibility on the payment options. But as a creator, if for some reason they were to default on this loan, that would mean that you would still get paid. Whereas if you do a payment plan through Kartra, if they default on that payment plan, you often have to follow up with them. You often have to check in and see, did their credit card decline? Did something happen? And oftentimes you can be out of money. So with Klarna, you get paid up front as the creator, which is amazing, so that you don't take on that risk. So I think this is really great. Obviously, buy now, pay later options are very popular, and we're probably going to see more of those. So I think that this is really great that Kartra is up with the times with this feature. So first of all, by default, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and Klarna are enabled already with your Stripe Connect if your Stripe is connected through Kartra. So if you do want to turn that off and you do not want to have Klarna enabled, you're going to have to go into Stripe, go to the payments section, find Klarna, and turn that off. So if you already have it connected, by default, it is already turned on. So nothing you need to do there if you do want to use it. Another thing to note is that Klarna is higher processing fees for those in the US and Canada, and I think a couple other countries. So this may sway you one way or the other, but it is, I believe, 5.99% have Stripe charged through Klarna instead of, I think, 2.99%. So that may make a difference to you. I want to offer the flexibility to my potential students and clients, so I am going to take on that extra percentage. I believe that you can check in Stripe and look at the different percentages and see what your country has. So definitely check that out to see if that's going to be a factor in whether that sways you to turn this on or off. But just wanted to share that if you notice your processing fees are a little bit higher through Klarna, that is why. Next, we are going to talk about how to set up your checkout. Make sure you create and publish a product. Make sure that's all set up. And then we're now going to create and publish a checkout. So when you get into Kartra, you're going to go to sales and then checkout. So previously, checkouts was under products. And if you go to products, you'll now see this little button tab that says legacy checkouts. And now we also have this extra section here that says checkouts. So let's go to checkouts and then let's click add checkout up here. So first you want to decide what you want it to look like. Do you want it to be step-by-step payment details, split payment sections, a list view, horizontal checkout? Then You want to pick your product funnel that you've already created. So these are all my products. I have a lot of products in Kartra. So I'm going to connect my Squarespace templates product, and I am going to then connect the product and the price point. You can choose either a multi-price, which means that it will give them the option to choose all of the price points. So it depends how your products are set up for your business. Do you want them to see all of the prices and they can pick, or do you want to just only have one individual price? So right now, I'm just going to set up a checkout just for price point 3, which is my lavender Squarespace template. So it's for one specific checkout. When you choose your type of checkout, if you have a Kartra hosted page, this will give you a link where you can have a button where it will then take you to the link of a Kartra hosted page where your checkout is. And this can be used if you have Kartra pages, or let's say you have a Squarespace website, and on that Squarespace website you want to have a link to a Kartra hosted checkout page like this. You'd get a link. If you do a pop-up checkout, that can be where if you have a Kartra hosted page, you then choose the pop-up option, and then it will allow your checkout to pop up over your Kartra page. And then if you have an embedded checkout, this is where you can do an embedded checkout within a Kartra hosted page. So let's say you're on your sales page and then you want to drag over an embedded checkout. So this is where they don't have to click a button or anything. Your checkout is just right embedded in that page. This is what you would choose if you wanted that look. Now, obviously that is a different type of design, so some people may not like that, but also the benefit of that is that your customer does not have to do an extra click. The checkout page is already right there. You also can embed a checkout on a third-party page like Squarespace, and Kartra will actually give you the code to embed that checkout onto Squarespace. I will say that there was a caveat that I noticed if you are using Klarna payments, that if you are using an embedded checkout on a third-party site, so let's say Squarespace, Klarna may not show up unless you grant access through Stripe to that domain. So if you notice that Klarna is not showing up for you, you may have to go into your payment settings within Stripe and allow access to that domain. So definitely check that, and you just have to grant access and then it will start to show up. Okay, so I'm just going to do a Kartra hosted page to keep it simple, and I'm going to click create. And as you see, because I chose the Kartra hosted page, there is a link now up here that it will give me that I can then share on a third-party site or share the link directly through to a customer or something like that. So this is where you can edit the link if you want. This is where you can change the design and change to your branding colors, so you can have your custom section here. So let's do my branding colors and make sure everything is good. You can also add your logo here as well. And right now I'm just not going to display my branding logo to make it simple. You can also change the template here, as you notice. So if you don't like the look of that, once you chose it, if you're like, oh, actually I don't like the look, you can browse here and change how it looks. Okay, and then click save. The settings are where you can, again, change the name and the description. There's also this checkbox here. So it says bank statement description. So this is if you want to check the box to say use the checkout's official name as the payment description on the bank statement. So when you get your bank statement, that you need to check that or not check that depending on the name that you want on the bank statement. So just read this little blurb and decide if you want that checked or not, and then click save. And then, of course, this is where you can change the linked product, which we already have done. And then the payment, it defaults to test credit cards. So just change this and make sure you are activating your credit card here and picking your Stripe card. And then you're going to want to click publish. And that means that your checkout is now published. And then I just took that link from the Kartra checkout and changed all my add to cart links to that new link we created. And that is the new checkout link. And I replaced all of them on my page and clicked save. And I just double checked and it worked. So now when you go to add to cart, it takes you to that Kartra hosted page I just created and gives you the option for Google Pay and Klarna, which is really wonderful. I don't see the option for Apple Pay, so I may have to go into my Stripe account and make sure that is allowed. I also noticed that for me personally, Klarna did show up. I didn't have to gain access to my Emily-Ames site for it to work. So that was really simple. So now I'm going to do that for all of my checkouts and make sure they are updated. But this is how you would do it with a Kartra hosted checkout page. Then if you want to see how it would look, you can try an embedded page. And just so you know, I'll just show you what you would do. Let's say you did want an embedded checkout. If you go to your pages here, let's say this is your sales page. This is my affiliate page, but let's just say it's your sales page and you want to embed one of your checkouts. So again, make sure that you have chosen that checkout embed option. And then you're going to go to components. And then you're going to go to checkout and then drag this over and then edit it and pick the checkout that you just created. So you want to go from the old legacy to the new one and pick your checkout. Now, obviously, I do not have a checkout here, even though I just created a checkout, because I did not choose the embedded option. So it's not allowing me to add a checkout. So this is just one of Kartra's probably safety features to say, okay, I don't have any embedded checkouts. So if I did want to embed this in my page, I'm going to have to go back to my checkouts and make it an embeddable option. That is how it would look though if you want it embedded in the page. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. There's probably some questions you have, so feel free to put them in the comments. Feel free to comment if this was helpful for you. And yeah, you can subscribe for more tech tutorials. I also have a Kartra Tech Hub if you are interested in learning quick tutorials like this. If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed in Kartra, definitely check that out, emily-ames.com/tech hub.